Hello, everyone. What a great gathering. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. First of all, the venue is extraordinary. I was here for the groundbreaking and signing steel, whatever that tradition's called, and the topping ceremony, then coming back for the ribbon cutting. So Cornell Tech has really gained the preeminence that we knew it would have when they first set forth this idea of building here on the legendary Roosevelt Island. So I'm really proud to be back, and I want to thank our Dean Morissette for hosting us here today. Thank you very much, and everyone from this great institution. Julie Samuels, so many smart things come out of this woman's mouth. She has great ideas, and we do listen. And in state government, we really pay attention when Julie comes to us with an idea or a way to build a coalition around an idea, which is what exactly had to happen for us to be here today to talk about this extraordinary opportunity. Also, Tom Secunda, thank you. Thank you for bringing forth something that is going to change our state forever for the good, and this will be part of your legacy. And I want to thank you for everything you've done. We had a chance to spend more time together with other leaders at the governor's residence to really think about, what is this going to look like? How is this never been done before concept going to be implemented? And I want to thank you for just being the visionary that our time needed right now. So thank you. And all the Empire AI founding members, I know we're talking about the future here today, but let's go back 20 years. The tech culture in New York City, what was it like? You're right, it didn't exist. It was a couple of people from Google sitting in a Starbucks thinking of some possibilities, and that was it literally 20 years ago. Not in the scheme of a great city like New York, not a long period of time. And, we always had that spirit of innovation and ingenuity and boldness, but we are known for finance, Wall Street. We are known for marketing. We're known for fashion. We're known for theater. And I don't think anyone would ever put the words New York City as a global tech capital together in the same sentence. But look where we are here today, to build on the work of others, but to take us to a place that will be defining us in ways we never could have imagined. Think of Silicon Valley before it was discovered as a place where all these young people would go, educated there, stay, come up with brilliant ideas, commercialize, start businesses. All of a sudden, suburban office parks are cool again. Everybody wanted to work out there, have free parking, and the barista waiting on you. And I've been to all of them. There's slides, there's putt-putt, there's everything. It was a fun world. I traveled out there many times when I was in Congress to see what this whole world was like, right? Josh knows what I'm talking about. It's fun, built on fun. But today they say things differently about us. They say the West Coast is where your friends are, all your friends are out there, but your customers are here in New York. And that's what we're going to capitalize on. That's what this is all about. So I want to say this is an ecosystem that is vibrant today. A lot of people took a risk. We made it happen. But we decided to take it to the next level. In New York, you can never rest on your laurels. That's not in our DNA as New Yorkers. Never, never, never. We always push forward, whether it's this ingenious idea by someone sitting in debtor prison, look it up, the Erie Canal 200 years ago, not a lot of time on his hand, how we can bring a little village known as New York City and be able to take products to market all the way to the Great Lakes, open up the Midwest. That was 200 years ago. We always dream big. We have our Erie Canal moment right now. This is how significant this Empire AI initiative is. And that is not an exaggeration. People look back at this time and say, that was the moment when what happened in Silicon Valley was significant, but we took it to a level no one could have imagined. So I've said whoever dominates this next era of AI will dominate history, and indeed the future. So we're used to it. It's what we do here. I just have some remarks. I'm just going to share a couple more of them, but we're building on successes not just here in New York City, but all over the state. Where was I this past week? Syracuse. Why Syracuse? Say the word. Chips. Chips. I was going to say micron, but chips work. President Biden, you know, he and Senator Schumer, Majority Leader Schumer, Chips and Science Act passed by the federal government. But that meant that they'd be bringing semiconductor manufacturing back here or developing it here. But why New York? Why'd they come to New York instead of Texas and other places that thought they had the first dibs on these opportunities? They came to New York because New York met the moment. And I was able to get $10 billion through the legislature in the final days 2 years ago and says, we want to be competitive. We have to offer incentives if we're going to be the place that they come. And that's how we landed the largest private sector investment in history, $100 billion, 50,000 jobs in upstate New York. Ripple effect will be everywhere, including on this campus. That's what we're doing. We're dreaming big, we're thinking big, acting big. So we'll continue to focus on these opportunities, but I'm here to listen to you. This has never been done before, first in the nation. Other states are looking. Other states, I'm told by my governor friends, are envious that we're able to pull together this consortium with private sector dollars, public sector dollars, and our universities, so every young person from our privates, like Cornell, CUNY, SUNY, diverse campuses, they'll have a shot to seize the future. I want to see a diverse tech workforce, and I believe that's one of the drivers of why people are starting to discover us and saying, we need to have more voices. We need to have more women. We need to have people of color. We need to have everybody's voices represented because they were not getting that out in Silicon Valley for a long time. So we're changing the world, starting here today. You tell me how it's going to happen. Julie?
Thank you so much, Governor. We're so grateful to everything you and your team did to help move the entire state forward in getting Empire AI done. It's amazing. It's amazing. Tom, I'm going to turn it to you. I'm hoping that you could just speak for a little bit about the vision for Empire AI and what it's going to do for research in the state of New York.
Happy to do that. And thank you, Governor. Your vision and tenacity is what made this happen. I'm really proud to participate. Greg, thanks for hosting us. There you are. I usually speak loud enough. When you think about what's going on in AI and machine learning, the capacity, the computer capacity, was one of the missing ingredients for academia to participate in the kind of research that's only done by academia. If you look at what's going on now, the corporations that are working in AI are actually being pretty good citizens. Some of them are open sourcing their code. Everybody's publishing. They're all willing to talk to us. But they're not going to do the kinds of projects that we just heard everybody speak about. I have a passion. My daughter is an astrophysicist. Her research could take a month of CPU work, which means that to turn around a whole bunch of research could take years. With supercomputing, that months of work gets done in days, and the amount of research you can do just dramatically changes. And that's going to be true amongst all the different kinds of science applications that we're talking about. It's going to speed up discovery. It's going to create new kinds of discovery as well. So we're really excited about this. The schools can talk to us about each of their individual visions. They did a little bit, Governor, before you came in. Just so exciting to hear the kinds of research that we're going to be able to do, because we're going to be able to provide compute to the folks that are getting some NSF grants and some other ways of funding the actual folks that are doing the research. So real exciting. Got a lot of work to do. I'm reaching out to both Josh and my partners in academia to take us the next step, because there's a lot of learning that we have to do. Josh and I are going out to Silicon Valley to talk to some kind of hardware manufacturer. We are at the forefront of what we're doing here, and it's just really exciting. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jeanette, I'm going to turn to you for a second. and hope you can expand a little bit on what you think Empire AI means for the state, and for people who might not be directly in the tech sector themselves. I also think there's some mics.
Okay, first of all, Julie, you scripted me differently last night, so I'm going to first answer the question you asked me last night, and then answer the question that you just asked me. So I was supposed to describe what Empire AI actually is going to be.
Okay, good.
What is it going to be? It's going to be a huge computational facility with lots and lots of GPUs. And this kind of computational facility is one facility that no one academic institution could ever afford to achieve. And collectively, the consortium coming together with state dollars, thank you, Governor Hochul, with private dollars, thank you, Tom Skunda, with private university and public university dollars, we are going to be able to do the kind of research that Tom Skunda was talking about on compute power that no academic institution has access to today. And I just want to talk about how much computational power is needed just to do the kind of advanced AI machine learning today. So the last 10 years, we have seen a 3.5 month doubling of computational power to build machine learning models. I have the graph here, if in case you want to see it. But more interestingly, I also have two other numbers to share with you. OpenAI's GPT-4 used an estimated $78 million worth of compute to train. Google's Gemini Ultra cost $191 million for compute. So you can see academia has no way to compete with the big tech companies. Empire AI is going to give us a chance to have access to the computational power so that we can actually do cutting-edge AI research, number one. Number two is not only do we want to do cutting-edge AI research, but we want to use current trained models trained by industry, to advance research in all other disciplines, like scientific discovery, like medicine, like climate, like neuroscience. And we also, so there's so many possibilities that Empire AI opens up for us. I'll just stop there.
Perfect.
That was more than 90 seconds.
It was great. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Ram, I was hoping you could weigh in a little bit from the SUNY perspective on this, and kind of what you see as the promise spearheading this large state institution, what this means for you and your team.
Absolutely. Thank you, Julie. First of all, I want to thank you, Governor, for this vision for New York and vision for academia. It's very rare that head of a state would actually think about higher education and such a long-term vision to bring collaboration together. So this is the best of the institutions you can think of coming together as Empire AI to solve the greatest problems that humanity is facing. As Jeanette said, climate change, we have climate and health disparities questions, and health and AI, and all of these problems. These are such large scale that no academic institution, single institution, will have the capacity to do what we are talking, what the faculty could imagine to solve. This actually makes that imagination a reality. So truly, thank you for that opportunity. Again, as you said, this is unprecedented for academia to have this level of access. And to do AI with a focus on only what academia would do, as Tom said, that is focus on ethics of AI. How are biases built in algorithms, and how do we avoid that? There's lots of things that we can think about in the academic sense. not in the way of next version 5.0 of something or the other, has a different focus and different drivers. So that is something that I truly appreciate the vision, Tom, for sharing that. So the other part is AI is going to be, although there is a notion that AI could increase disparities, I believe that AI would level the playing field in the following way. If, for example, in education in SUNY, when we have from community colleges all the way up to AAU institutions, we have a diverse population coming to school with different levels of difficulty, challenges they have. The AI can enable a personalized tutoring for individuals with 24/7 unlimited access to an intelligent tutor for them to grow and succeed in their education. And by doing so, the inclusion of a diverse population to help them succeed is going to tremendously increase with the use of AI. So SUNY is excited about the possibility of focusing on technologies that enable and produce the kind of workforce that the industries of the future that you're bringing into the state at scale. SUNY has 360,000 students, and really to produce the workforce at scale is something that we plan to do. We're truly excited about this. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Kristen, we've talked a lot, there's been a lot of talk over the past few months about kind of what's next. Like, we made it through the budget. It was a big hurdle. We took a breath, but now we survived. But now where do we go? I was hoping you could just spend a couple minutes, or 90 seconds or whatever, on that.
Even less. Yeah, thanks, Julie. And I think I certainly want to thank the governor's team. So getting us to that milestone was important. And Tom for sticking with us and having this vision that we could do it together. Now the challenge is to do it together, right? And so I really want to thank all of the partners here. Not only did we travel to be here for this great milestone, but we've been spending a heck of a lot of time together in 2 dimensions. So to be here in 3 dimensions is important and wonderful. I think the next steps are really about building this consortium of academic partners and research institutions, right? So great universities with great students and great researchers of the future in our midst. So that's really important to us. How do you actually build that consortium that has trust about how to use a shared resource together? That part is unprecedented too, right? Because to have this kind of computing power, we really have to think about how to use it together. And so we're rolling up our sleeves to do that. And that goes from everywhere to thinking about the architecture of the hardware to the use allocation, getting into the nitty-gritty that makes it a shared resource of top institutions in the world. So we did not take a breath. So that budget milestone was very important, but we knew everything would have to come next to have a 501 that could say, okay, now that we have this opportunity, how do we build that resource together? And have it hosted in a great part of New York and then used in the other great parts of New York. It's a great opportunity. It's a big puzzle, and we look forward to solving it together.
I'm so excited about that part. We've spent so much time in the tech sector talking about how New York statewide has such amazing education in the tech space, but we have a hard time talking about it as one entity. I think, the schools understandably talk about what they do individually, and I have no doubt that New York State, when it comes to higher education and tech, can compete with anywhere in the country, if not the world. Mm-hmm. And I hope that Empire AI also gives us a vehicle to talk about it in the aggregate. I think it'll be very important.
I think it's a great recruitment tool. In fact, I hosted it.
I'm using it already.
Yeah, I had one university president said that one of their top AI thought leaders on their faculty was being recruited to go to Florida. And when he heard about this, even before he got it passed, he changed his mind and decided to stay. And he says, I'm going to be able to bring more students from other parts of our country to come here for this access, which, as you described, is prohibitive for any one institution beyond the scale to even think about. Why waste your time on something that's so utterly impossible? And that's the challenge that we're meeting right now. That's what we're solving for. And I'm really excited about that as well. I think it really puts our institutions, public and private, on the map.
When you talk about recruitment, I'd love to quickly hear from Chianti, who is a postdoc in New York, who's building in this space. Maybe you could talk briefly, Chianti, about what it is you're working on and how access to the kind of compute power that will come with Empire AI would be amazing.
Yeah, so for us, we've like spent a lot of time over the past year looking at various data sets across like a wide variety of domains. And so what we're studying is like the core algorithmic principles of how these algorithms are trained and how they can actually develop better algorithms in order to like do alignment for all these downstream applications. And so what we saw that as there are a lot of problems where the data sets aren't sufficiently complex, and smaller models are okay to solve those problems. But as the problems become more complex, and as you increase the model set sizes, then you see sort of emergence of behavior. But we're at least at the compute that we have now, we can't see, how does that behavior play out as the model size continues to increase. So at the moment, we're limited in the ability of the models we can study and the behavior we can study. But with the hope of Empire AI, that we can sort of extend that to bigger models, to more emergence of behavior for a lot of downstream applications. But for us, we're mainly focusing on the algorithmic principles around these downstream applications that people might interest in.
Excellent, excellent.
And while the academic institutions are the primary partners and the beneficiaries, I guess is the right term, of Empire AI, we fully believe that it will help the entire tech sector in the state grow. And we have Athena here who's building a startup in New York and building it on using AI. And I was hoping, Athena, you could briefly tell the governor about what it is you're building and what Empire AI means as you build your startup here.
Sounds good. I also have notes. So I just got off of a red eye, so I apologize. But basically, at Celeste, we're really thinking about how we can democratize access to personalized healthcare in a really scalable and affordable manner by building the technical infrastructure for academic medical centers, research institutions to use as part of their healthcare facility. And so what we've really done is combine advanced data analytics with the expertise of doctors, researchers, pharmacists, other clinicians, to think about how we can make trial and error, as a common thing that we're all kind of used to in prescribing practices, almost obsolete, by predicting the response to different treatments prior to prescription. And so we're really excited to think about how we can support medical professionals alongside our academic medical center counterparts, especially when it comes to boosting prescribing confidence, improving compliance to guidelines, and helping patients feel confident in trying new clinical trials, new digital therapeutics, so on and so forth. So with Empire AI and more investment towards AI for academic medical centers and academic institutions as a whole, I think there's a huge opportunity for tech companies like Celeste to collaborate more closely with our academic partners to think about bringing the tools that we have to those centers to improve access to care for patients all over New York State, especially those in underserved communities.
Excellent. That's what we're shooting for, right?
That's the idea. Raj, I was also hoping you could quickly speak a little bit to some of what you're working on at Hunter and how you are thinking about issues around trust and safety. We talked a little bit, since you've been in here before, about some of the ethical concerns.
Right.
I know it's something you're spending some time on.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm a two-time CUNY alum, and I'm now a faculty member at Hunter, and so I've seen both sides as a student, as a faculty member, the power of public education, especially at CUNY and higher ed more broadly. My research is on AI and robotics, thinking about issues of trust and safety. And it's such a fundamental part, thinking about how these systems will affect the public interest and how really we need to build these things for the public good. Just yesterday, I was at Fordham at the Public Interest Tech gathering with faculty from Cornell Tech, from NYU, and across CUNY, and we were talking about ways in which we can think about the societal impacts of these systems. How do we think about ethical ways to use them in a way that will reduce biases and discrimination? And we involve students in this every step of the way. Right? In my classrooms, we are having lively discussions about ethics of AI and how we can view the way that they affect society, right? Even if you are a programmer, every line of code has an impact on a person around them, right? And building systems that will help people in their community. So I have a group of students this semester working on a project inspired by a student's grandmother, who is not a native English speaker. She speaks Mandarin and struggling to learn English. And so what they do, they're building an app that allows non-native speakers to interact with ChatGPT and have natural conversations so that they can get better at learning languages. And so this is all from our students coming from their diverse backgrounds, really building these things that will help their communities.
So those are some of the projects. I know there are some, we haven't, Robert, to put you on the spot, we haven't heard from RPI yet, and we haven't heard from Stacy at NYU, if you want to talk about some of the projects quickly that you're really excited about.
Yes, so just before you arrived, Governor Hochul, we were talking about the broad spectrum of applications of AI and how it will affect every field. So just at RPI, we have major programs on artificial intelligence advancing discovery of materials for new technologies, for revolutionizing categorization and distributions of galaxies in astrophysics. A critical application is medical imaging. We're looking at how AI applies to architecture and the built environment and to financial technologies. And I'm sure amongst all of our universities, we can show that enormous breadth of impact. The other thing I want to say with great excitement is we've just installed a quantum computer at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Several people in this room saw the formal launch of that. And I don't view these as divergent technologies. They are converging technologies. The combination of different forms of computing power is going to really accelerate the impact of Empower AI. And none of us can realize the potential of what we want to do without it. So thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Stacy.
So I could easily also get very geeked out on all the science and the potential applications, and there's a million of them. But I think I want to come back to the partnership, the original group that came together to make this happen. I've been at NYU for 13 years. I've never seen a consortium of universities who were so aligned with a vision and so determined to make this happen. It is really nice to be here in person. We have spent so many hours together. The thing I love that brought us together originally was a real commitment to make sure that the AI research we're doing is safe, to Raj's point, it's equitable, it's responsible, and it's fair. And that original sort of philosophy that brought us together, I think, is going to be what holds us together throughout the lifetime of the project. So it's really an honor to be together with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, amazing perspectives, reminding me that this really was a brilliant idea. And, you know, the observation is a lot of governors don't wade into this space because, you know, we don't tend to study this in school. I was a political science major at Syracuse University, but I also saw the power of technology to transform families in my own household. And I'll tell you a quick story. My father had a very stable job at the Bethlehem Steel plant where everybody worked in my community, Bethlehem Steel, Lackawanna. And you hit the gold mine if you got a job there. Takes you right in the middle class. And my father always had this wanderlust. He always was making himself smarter, taking classes at night, getting a degree. When he was 30 years old, and already had 5 of his 6 kids, I was one of the oldest. I used to go in with him, you know, sometimes to his office later on because he had left his position, joined just a couple of guys who were starting, former IBM guys, who were starting a tech company and working in software and also staffing. And I would go into the room with him, and a room probably this big. The computer was as big as this room, right? And he'd let me play with the little data punch cards. I could color some of them, or sometimes he'd let me push them in the machine. So that might be the genesis of why I'm so fascinated, because that was a company that almost went under a dozen times because they were brand new. And what is this? And you're trying to convince customers of a product they never even heard of or thought they needed back in the 60s. But it became successful. About 3,000 employees, went global. My father represented America at some global computing conference at Versailles. So that's why I am an uninformed tech geek. I don't know a lot about it, but I know when I see something like this, I'm intrigued, the GPU and the possibilities that this means and the chips that go into this. And I see this, I see jobs, I see opportunities, I see lifting people out of their circumstances. So I get real excited about this because I know what it did for my own family. And, you know, some of you may have heard me talking about, you know, an advisory council. And what I want to make sure is that we build on legacy knowledge, but also new knowledge. What am I talking about? We have the Emerging Technology Advisory Board. We're going to have, figure out how we can grow grow talent. I want to grow talent. I want to get young people who've never thought of these careers to get excited about them because we're doing this for the future. We also, so I've asked IBM CEO Arvind Krishna to be one of the co-chairs. He agreed, and talk about our legacy. Everybody knows IBM, but Dr. Tarika Barrett, the CEO of Girls Who Code, and I'll give you a quick story about Girls Who Code because I used to go to a lot of the graduations. I mean, one summer there were these young women, probably 8th, 9th graders, out of a very, very difficult home life, a neighborhood where I guarantee they didn't know a single person who went on to tech jobs. They had no role models. They were scooped up and brought into this environment, and at the end of maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks of working together as teams, I was able to see the graduation, and they showed me what they innovated, apps that these young women created. And when I went around to all the different tables, one group of young women decided that there were a lot of young friends they had who were depressed in school, feeling hopeless. And they came up with an app that when you're feeling down and looking for inspiration, it had beautiful images, inspiring words, music, and at the end of it, if you're feeling depressed or suicidal, this is the information. And all of a sudden it occurred to me, I don't think a young group of boys would have done this. I realized that they were so intuitive with the needs of their contemporaries were, they figured out a solution using technology. That's what was missing for a long time in tech. The people designing the solutions did not represent many people, especially in a state like New York, that were so proud of and so diverse. This changes that equation. When you can get young people of every socioeconomic background who can find their way into these opportunities, starting out at CUNY or anywhere they want to go, at one of our SUNY community colleges up in Rochester, or Buffalo, or anywhere, but also the institutions that are more well-known. We bring all that together and say, here's the access that you never would have had available to you, with brilliant leaders, deans, grants that are coming from the federal government, professors that stimulate them, possibly able to commercialize what they come up with, and next thing we know, they're tech entrepreneurs themselves, people who never thought they had a shot. That's why I'm excited about this. This means liberating a lot of people, giving them a chance that they never would have had but for this. And that's what makes me so proud. And so I'm looking forward to dealing with these challenges. And again, every area that you can possibly think of is excited. Last night I hosted 60 of the smartest minds in the state of New York who are dealing with the environmental challenges that we're facing, how we build resiliency, how we address climate change, how we make us more sustainable. I had the smartest people all gathered for a dinner, and within 5 minutes, people started talking about AI and how AI can help decide how we can, look at a building when you're an existing building and how we can figure out how to get less carbon emissions from it. So I was excited to see that they automatically knew, and these are some people from the Sierra Club and groups of people that you don't normally think, Audubon Society, all these groups that are concerned about the environment. They were thinking about this technology here as the path forward to solving the problems. And so people in New York are getting it. They're seeing what this is all about. And that's what this group is going to do, is sort of go out there and be the people who can talk about it in ways that are in a real life human way that makes it relatable, not distant, but relatable. And so I want to thank all of you for those who went through the long birthing process of this. Having had 2 kids, I know what I'm talking about. It was a long journey, but from inception to where we are today, we're just getting started. This is still the infancy, and we will look back at this day, this year, of what we accomplished and what we started. But I think truly people in the future will say, yeah, that's when it all began for New York. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.